Good day, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. We trudge away at the sails on the main mast. In our last video, we were sewing this one to the yard arm, and we found that the cleats and everything were on the wrong side. So we fixed that and finished bringing in all these rigging ropes. I got this dowel just laying in there to help hold that sail. Keep tension on these rigging ropes. But I brought the rigging lines all the way down through the crow's nest. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's 2 lifting ropes, 7, 8, and those are all brought down to the deck through the crow's nest here. I don't have any of them tied off yet. They're all just hanging down here near the baling pin rack. So because there was a little confusion on this installation, I had to put it back on the bench and rework everything. And I think I've got all the ropes run where it's not interfering with each other or the foot ropes. I still got these 2 to do. They'll go back here, I think. But the majority of the running rigging is installed down to the deck. So now we just gotta individually tie these off on their prospective tie points in the baling pin rack down here. And I got 3 holes left on each side, which is good because that'll leave 1 left over. I'm gonna have 2 on each baling pin here in the front, and I'm gonna leave that one in the back open. So in our process of doing the top sail, so that Mufasa down there coughing. And that's the lifting ropes for the middle one. And there's the 2 upper stabilizing ropes for the yard arm. And then that detail shows how we're sewing the sail onto the yard arm. And we got a pulley on each corner that goes up through a pulley and then down to the deck. And then a tie-off point on the yard arm to the bottom of the sail, and then back up to a pulley and down to the deck. So that gives you an idea of the ones that we're working on today. Yeah, that's the rear mast there, which we'll do last after we do the front mast. But I was looking for where the detail was. And it doesn't appear there is one. The detail I'm looking for is on the box. I can see at the bottom of each sail, along with the ropes to furl the sail up, there's also ropes pulling it down. And I don't see those in the details anywhere. Which for this model maker is standard operation. Now, Artesia Latina has come out with two new models that are all rendered and designed in 3D, and there's a ton of documentation to go with the new models. More than 1,000 photographs, probably on CD this time instead of paper. But I think it's called the Surreal. It's like 800 bucks. It's the one I'm looking at next, but hopefully it'll have a lot better documentation on what I should be doing. Because the current model is lacking. So I'm gonna sit down on my little bench and work on tying these off to the baling pin rack here on both sides and get those tensions up here at the top just right. The first two I'm going to do is going to be the stabilizer ropes that stabilize this yard arm. And then I'll lay a dowel in there like I did before and pull the tension to the right length for all these other ropes, because this one pulls up on the bottom of the sail in the middle on both sides, and then you got the corners, and then these also need to be tied off to their respective spots. I think that's what's going to go through. Yeah, I've got to tie a pulley on this line here according to the drawing over there. We'll come off the top of that yard arm with that big line to a pulley and then down to a baling pin. That's so they can steer that sail this way or this way, depending on the wind. So it's starting to fill up. Okay, we got a little different perspective there. So we're preloading the baling pin, a little dab of glue on it. Get that in position. And we've got the yard arm stiffener rope tied off here in the front, and that's drying. And I got the other side, all 3 or 4 of them tied off. So now I'm picking, this is the corner of the sail and this one is the middle. So I stuck a piece of sandpaper up there in the sail, rolled up so it acts like the wind is blowing the sail, and it's got that hook shape at the bottom. So now the right amount of tension on there, match the other side that's already done, and I've been having pretty good success by placing the rope through the ratline ladder so I can pull on it from out here, and then I'm grabbing the rope with a little bit of slack on both sides, and I'm going to try to control without hitting the camera. To control that hook point. So you can see how I got it run down and around the bottom of the baling pin and then up the rack to the top of the baling pin. So now I'm going to put a little counterweight on the outside here and try to get one wrap on there before I do the slip knot. So I got to grab it where there's enough room to make the wrap. My finger in there to keep it from coming loose on the bottom. Get that wrap done and let go. Now we got to make the upside down loop. Oops. My wrap came off. So I got to get in there with tweezers and hold that down instead of my finger. Something like that. Get this one out of the way. So I made my loop. Now I got that loop laying flat. I need to grab it on the open part of the loop, pull it over the baling pin. And pull it tight. So there's one. Right amount of tension, checking on that. Okay, now I'm going to put a little dab of glue on that slip knot, upside down knot, half hitch, whatever you call it. I don't know what you call it. So now we got to try to do the same thing with the other one on the same pin. but this one's a lot shorter. I'm grabbing another counterweight. I won't need it yet because I got to get this underneath there, and it needs to go on this side. So I'm going to go down on the right side. Try to catch that pin where it comes out on the left side. Artesia Latina's got some new tools that are designed for this. I actually got it caught on the other baling pin over here. Now I don't know what rope it is. It's actually hooked around two. I only wanted around that one. They make some new tools for doing this operation right here. My pin's coming out, isn't it? Sure was. And my camera's falling over. There we go. So, we got it hooked on the bottom of the right baling pin. And I'm checking my tension up on the top. That looks good. Get this one out of the way. And I can cut that tail off in a minute. I'm going to come in here and try to hold this down while I get a loop on there. Like that. And the more ropes you get on the rigging, the tougher it is. Reach in there and do something. So I'm going to add another little dab of glue now because I've got one wrap on there. And I want that wrap to the glue to help hold the wrap while I try to do this upside down deal. I think I want to cut this other tail out of the way. Without cutting the one I'm working on. So here we go. with our loop. I'm just trying to figure out how to do this. I want to make that loop like that, and then trap and roll this over the top. I don't think that's right. No, that's just another loop. Now if I can grab that little tail there, we got it. Woohoo! Get that tight. I'm looking for my pliers. Well, that's not too bad, but gives us one baling pin hole left on this rack, which is a good thing because I've used up everything in the middle except for one double block. That's going to be for my lifting rope, which I haven't tied on yet, but the part we wanted to get done is done. Still got to cut the tails off over there. And that side's all done too. So that's what I meant by the sandpaper rolled up, to simulate that shape that we want the sail in. Now we got to do these two, one on each side, over to here, and permanent tie point here. Well, actually it's on that line, not on the mast, is it? Well, we'll get that. That's easy because it's out here in the open. And then down to the deck. Yeah, it goes to the baling pin rack, so maybe that'll be the last pin. And we'll use that last double block for the lifting rope. which the lifting rope is one thing I'm wondering about. Why doesn't show me a detail? You see, you got a detail here for this lifting. The yard arm. We got that, but there's no... Unless they're using these outer ones to lift it instead. You would think there would be another detail for that, but I don't see one. Just my luck. It's the last page in the book. Good luck with pictures. I only got 112 pictures for this whole model. That ain't enough. For all this rigging, miles of stinking thread. For all this rigging, I only got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. And of course that question mark that we have now is not represented here. This is the top crow's nest. That's the top sail there, but we're not showing a detail on the very top of the top sail. They're just showing this detail here. This is what I have to work with. So I'm gonna gear up and run these two. And then we'll leave it at that unless we figure out something new. So next week we're going to be taking on the sails on the foremast, which I think is these three. These two here are the rear mast. We'll do them later, but the forward mast it's gonna be tough squeezing that one in there. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. This will be the top one. That one will be a little easier. Get that in there. This one's going to be tough though. And then the bottom one. No, that's the foremast. What am I thinking? The two smaller sails in the rear. Yeah, that'll be a lot easier to fit in there because that rope in the way. That's why we look at this ahead of time. Yes, see, there's plenty of room. Plenty of room for that big boy up there. Good deal. And then the bottom sail for the foremast. Well, we got the mainmast done this week. Well, I still got these two here I missed. Those are easy though. Yep, we'll knock those out before we do the foremast, but that is easy compared to the other steps ahead. Well, we did make good progress this week and finished up the main mast. Got everything cleaned up in here for, yes, I'm starting, probably week after next. I'll be putting up lights on the house. There's my project ahead. We got Thanksgiving coming up, but we got to get all Christmas stuff up. And I had to fix this vacuum cleaner today, which I did. Was successful at fixing it. I got this cleaned out real good and it's drying. But there's a switch built in there when you tilt it back that makes the roller come on. And that switch was acting up. So after disassembly and repair work and troubleshooting, I discovered that the switch was sticking. So I put a little bit of the sewing machine oil on the micro switch. And then I did a test vacuum in the rug here in the shed, and it works good now. So it's been a pretty good vacuum cleaner for several years. So we'll let her dry out before we finish putting it back together, but another task completed. Thanks for watching.